Quick question before we get going, and drop your answer in the comments because I read every one of them. What is the one vegetable you have completely given up on growing? Not because you didn't want it, but because it got too hard on your body to keep up with. Tell me what it is down below, because I'll bet you money that at least 3 of the plants I'm about to show you can replace it, and they'll do most of the work themselves. I'm Walt. I'm 68, and after 50 years of doing this, I've learned something that would have saved me a lot of grief if I'd known it at 40. Most vegetables are needy. They want you bending over them, replanting them every single season, babying them. And when your knees and your back start to go, those needy plants are the first thing you lose. So over the last few years, I went looking for the opposite. Plants that come back on their own. Plants that reseed themselves. Plants that a man my age can grow in a waist-high pot and mostly just watch. And I found 7 that changed how I garden completely. The first one I'll show you is the one almost nobody thinks to put in a container, and it might be the most hands-off food you can grow. Let's start there, with kale. Now I know, kale isn't exciting, but hear me out, because there's a trick to it most folks miss. If you grow the right kind, the perennial and the hardier leaf varieties, you don't rip it out at the end of the season. You leave it. It keeps throwing off leaves for you, sometimes for 2 or 3 years from the same plant. You pick what you need for dinner, you walk away, and it just keeps going. In a waist-high container that means fresh greens for months, and not one time did I have to get down on the ground for it. Stick with me, because the next one is even lazier, and it's probably already growing as a weed somewhere near you. That one is leaf lettuce, the cut-and-come-again kind. Here's the part that matters for us. You don't harvest the whole head. You snip the outer leaves, and the plant just keeps making more from the center. One planting feeds you for weeks, and if you let just one plant go to seed at the end, it drops those seeds right back into the same pot, and next season it comes up on its own without you doing a thing. I have a container on my porch table that has reseeded itself 3 years running. I have not planted lettuce in that pot since 2023. It just shows up. That's the kind of gardening I'm talking about at our age. Now, before I give you the next one, let me say this clearly, because it's the whole point. None of this is about doing less because you've gotten old and given up. It's about being smart enough to let the plants carry the weight you used to carry. That's not quitting. That's 50 years of knowing better. All right, number 3, and this is where people start to get surprised. Herbs, specifically the perennial ones. Chives, oregano, mint, thyme, sage. You plant them once, one time, and they come back every single spring for years, bigger than the year before. Mint you want to keep in its own pot or it'll take over the neighborhood. But that's exactly what you want when you're trying to grow food without labor. You want a plant so eager to live that your only job is to cut it back. Put those in a container at waist height and you've got fresh seasoning for years off a single afternoon of planting. Number 4 is chard. Swiss chard, and this one's a workhorse. You cut the outer stalks, it regrows from the middle, same as the lettuce, and it'll shrug off heat and light frost that would kill a fussier plant. It's about the closest thing to a plant it and forget it vegetable that actually fills a plate, and it's colorful, which, I'll be honest, at my age I've started to care about. A pot of rainbow chard on the table is nice to look at while I have my coffee. Now stay with me, because number 5 is the one that surprised me the most, and it's the one I'd tell you to plant first if you only did one. That's the cherry tomato, and here's why it makes this list when big tomatoes don't. Cherry tomatoes are forgiving. They don't need the fussing that a big beefsteak does. They crop earlier. They keep going right up until frost, and here's the magic, they volunteer. Drop one overripe tomato in the soil, or just let a few fall, and next spring you'll have seedlings coming up on their own. I've got tomato plants in my garden right now that I never planted. Their parents planted them. Grow them up a stake in a tall container so the fruit comes to your hand instead of the ground, and you'll pick tomatoes standing straight up all summer for the price of one planting. If you're still with me, comment the word tomato down below. I'm curious how many of you make it this far, and it genuinely helps the video. Number 6, and this is an old-timer secret, is the perennial onion. Walking onions, Egyptian onions, bunching onions. You plant them once and they multiply themselves and come back year after year with almost no attention. You snip what you need for cooking and leave the rest. My grandfather grew these in Ohio, and I ignored them for 40 years thinking they were old-fashioned. Turns out old-fashioned is exactly what you want when old-fashioned means the plant does the work. And number 7, the last one, is the one I saved for the end because it's the longest game but the biggest payoff. That's asparagus. Now this one takes patience, I won't lie to you. You plant it and you wait a couple of years before you really harvest. But once it's established, a single asparagus bed will feed you every spring for 15, even 20 years. Think about that. You do the work one time in a raised bed you never have to bend into, and it feeds you into your 80s. If I could go back and talk to myself at 60, I'd say plant the asparagus that year because the best time to start was always a few years before you think you need it. The second best time is now, so there they are. Kale, leaf lettuce, perennial herbs, chard, cherry tomatoes, perennial onions, and asparagus. 7 plants that come back, reseed, or regrow so that you do the work once and they keep feeding you. Grow them all at waist height and you've got a garden that gives more every year while asking less of your body every year. That's the whole idea I've been chasing. Now I put all of this, the exact varieties, the container sizes, the setups that stop my back pain, into one simple guide because I got tired of watching folks my age quit gardening when they didn't have to. It's plain and it's honest, and the link is down below if you want it. But even if you never grab it, pick one of these 7 and plant it this week, then come back and tell me which one. And if you want more of this, real gardening for real bodies from somebody who's actually out there doing it at 68, subscribe and stick around. I'm Walt. I'll see you in the garden.